her teams make the Celebration Bowl. For HBCU Pulse Radio, this is Madeline Hale.
Thank you so much, Madeline. So listen, we're doing something new because I want to expand student reporting on HBCU Pulse Radio. Listen, when I was at Fort Valley State University, I got my media studies degree. When I came into Fort Valley, I wanted to be on the radio like Tom Joyner and Michael Baisden. And everybody that knew me and knew I was going to Fort Valley, they knew my goal was to get on the radio. And thankfully, by the grace of God, I'm here on SiriusXm, shout out to Howard University again. But I want to extend an opportunity to other students that are mass comm students that want to be mass comm professionals. I want to extend to them the same opportunity that I have now and that I didn't get the opportunity to have back when I was at Fort Valley. So we've partnered with news ambassadors to air some select special reports from students around the HBCU nation that identified an issue that is going on in their community, and they're using the skills that they learn in their mass communications courses at their respective HBCUs to address it. So the first story that we're going to have is from Jory Ross, a junior at Prairie View A&M University, who spoke about housing and infrastructure at PV. In Jory's own words, the story is important to me because it affected me personally. To this day, I owe PV money because of parking tickets. Sometimes I may need to park close to whatever building I'm going to if I'm running late. When I had housing on campus, that wasn't an issue, but it's hard to get on-campus housing at Prairie View because it's so limited. And I'm just one of thousands of students who commute. So the problem is large, but it's not talked about enough. So here is Jory's report on housing and infrastructure at Prairie View A&M University and how it affected him and his fellow peers.
So here's the deal. I'm a Prairie View A&M student, and for my big junior year, I couldn't get housing on campus. At the end of my sophomore year, I applied for student housing and immediately got put on the wait list. I didn't think much of it then, but as time went on and summer came to an end, I found myself still on the waiting list and houseless by the time school started. I would later find out that Prairie View had broken a record for the highest enrollment that semester, with over 9,863 students enrolling for the fall semester. This is great news from an academic standpoint, but due to a lack of housing and parking, the university is way over the cap. There are only 5,000 on-campus beds, causing many students to seek off-campus options. I spoke with some of my friends, and we discussed the issues they've dealt with and noticed.
My issues I've dealt with parking is I don't like the fact that they have the visitors parking, but they want you to pay $5 for 8 hours. You're only going to be there for an hour or less. I don't feel that's fair. And they give you unreasonable tickets. No, I don't think the housing situation on campus is fair because we're grown and there's no reason for y'all to be separating us like we're in high school. We should all be together to mingle.
I do not think the housing situation is fair because I feel as though everyone has to compete, especially when the next semester rolls around or the following semester rolls around. Everybody has to compete to get a spot on-campus housing.
The change that I want is a mini parking garage. Probably fit about 500 people or cars in it, just to help with the parking situation because a lot of times you'll have a class in a building and ain't no parking spots over there. You gotta go park somewhere else and then walk. So now you're even later to class where you could just park in the parking garage and go straight to class.
With these issues in mind, and also dealing with them during my time here, made me question why. Why is Prairie View letting more and more students enroll without accommodating their need for housing? At first, it seems pretty simple. Just build more houses, right? But no. In my research, I learned the university has certain restrictions and can't just build anywhere. The Wyatt Chapel Community Cemetery is the final resting place of formerly enslaved individuals who lived and worked on the Alta Vista Plantation, the land upon which the university now stands. Recognizing the historical significance of this site, the university has embarked on a comprehensive study funded by a $20,000 grant from the Summerlee Foundation. The project aims to delineate the cemetery's boundaries and identify those interred in its largely unmarked graves. The institution seeks to honor the legacy of these individuals and ensure their stories are preserved for the future generations. Because the cemetery is located on campus grounds, the university has to be cautious where they develop. The Wyatt Chapel Cemetery is located northeast of campus, approximately 174 meters from Cameron Road, which runs east from campus. Even though this information is mapped and known, the Wyatt Chapel Cemetery still holds unmarked graves. This slows down or even stops any development that's near the northeast side of campus. There are many ways the campus can go about this, but first the main goal is to find these unmarked graves, which is in progress now. Once the unmarked graves are found, marked, and preserved, the campus can then consider development on the north side of campus. With the funds, solutions like parking garages, housing with parking, and just housing is a great way the university can overcome this issue. Even though there's a financial gap between the two universities, like Texas A&M have a great parking system that eliminates any issues. Parking garages usually consist of 500 to 1,000 spaces, costing anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million. Now, this seems like an expensive investment, but the parking garages will eventually pay themselves off with the parking fees charged when entering. This will be a great addition to the campus and a great way to start fixing the parking issue. It will also help the school buy time until they are able to build more housing for students who are forced to commute. Reporting from Prairie View A&M University, my name is Jory Ross, and thank you for listening.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jory Ross, a junior mass communications major at Prairie View A&M University with a passion for digital storytelling. He produced his story in Professor Tony Clomac's audio class, part of the News Ambassadors Collaborative Journalism Program. Learn more at newsambassadors.org. That's newsambassadors.org. And I also have to shout out Jory's friends whose voices were heard in his piece, Amina Doug Sims and Adrielle Clark, who are both fellow Prairie View A&M Panthers. Coming up next, I'm going to air my conversation with Miss Colette V. Smith, a Tuskegee University alumna and the